Welcome to the podcast where we're all friends because we love all things Bravo, pop culture, and can't stop talking
having so much fun.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Bravo should be fun.
I'm Caitlin Marshall, your host here at Besties by Bravo. Allegedly allegations, where we're in a safe space to gossip, share our thoughts and opinions.
That girl's a liar. That girl's a liar.
About the Bravo celebrities, shows, and celebs we love, hate, and
that's when
love
Chef
to
goes,
hate.
Oh, suddenly now you're so religious?
So be cool. Don't be all uncool.
He went on a podcast claiming he had a threesome with two women from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Immediately, I was like, I wonder if it's Brandy and Carlton.
Because sometimes things may get a little, well, ridiculous.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. There's a spider that is coming down. Hold on. Ah! Oh my God!
It's like the Blair Witch Project or something. All you can hear in the background is, oh my God, has anybody seen my ring?
Oh my God.
I don't want to ruin the party or anything.
Have you seen my ring? Oh my God, can you look on the floor for my ring? God, someone's gonna kill me.
Don't mess with me because I will come.
What? Oh.
Feel free to leave that in for whatever entertainment purposes.
I'm so glad you're here to enjoy the fun. So, thank you for joining me on Besties by Bravo. Hi, besties. I am so sorry I am an hour late and I am solo this Thursday because scheduling and some unexpected things happened with childcare. I apologize, but my God, if it sounds like I've had a glass of wine, it's only because I feel like I needed one. Wow, Bravo. Wow, Bravo. There has been so much that has happened this week and in the last 12 hours. Y'all, okay, let's just start with what happened first. Rachel Leviss is suing Tom Sandoval and Ariana Madix for revenge porn, eavesdropping, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and there was one other. I was kind of flabbergasted at first when I saw this, but we knew that Tom Sandoval, that he's getting what he needed to get. I don't feel that Ariana should have been named as a defendant in this suit, but that's just me. And it's not just because I'm Team Ariana. This is simply because Ariana made it clear she didn't share this video that she discovered on Tom's phone, which, guess what, friends? We are, it's just, I can't write this. We are on the eve of the 1-year anniversary of Sandoval. 1 year ago. This is interesting timing, don't you think? But this was over the video that was taken unbeknownst to Rachel by one Tom Sandoval while they were having an intimate moment over FaceTime, and he screen recorded it without her knowing. And he absolutely deserves this. We've said from the beginning that was not okay, no matter what. Rachel's statement says she completely understands essentially her moral decisions in all of this, and she's not negating that, but that this is what the issue is about. The timing. We've had 3 Bravo lawsuits now in the last week between Brandy Glanville. Well, that was a legal letter, excuse me. Then we had Leah McSweeney, but let me digress to Rachel. From what I understand, it's mostly just Tom and Ariana named in this suit, and she is really going after Ariana the most. There were up to 50 Jane John Does listed in this. Now, Andy Cohen, Bravo, Evolution Media, they are all named in the lawsuit, but they are not named as defendants. I have been going on Pacer, doing all the things to try and get my hands on all of the legal documents that have been coming out. Oh man, y'all. Starting with Brandy, her lawsuit or her legal letter against Andy stating sexual harassment over the FaceTime video. Y'all, I can't remember if I mentioned this in my last podcast episode, but I'm pretty sure I didn't. So, it's a lot, y'all. She was outed by an anonymous source for that conversation where Andy had sent her a FaceTime, and it seems that she did not pick up this FaceTime. And with that, Andy had said, "I'm with Kate Chastain, and I want to have hot sex with you two, a menage a trois, if you will." And he's just like, "Love you, miss you, bye." And Kate was in the background just being like, "Hell yeah, whatever." And Brandy writes back, or sends a message back, I should say, saying, "I'll bring my hot dildo." So it further showed Brandy was in on the joke. It's not to say that anyone's ever asking for anything that is unwanted even when they are in on a quote unquote joke. But that being said, it really made a legal action quite difficult to follow through with. The lawsuit with Rachel, this is where it ties together very interestingly. I looked, and lo and behold, the attorneys representing Rachel Leviss are Brian Friedman and Mark Garagos. Now, friends, I know you've been paying attention. Brian Friedman and Mark Garagos are the two attorneys that were representing Brandi Glanville. And they were the two attorneys listed as being enlisted for Bethany Frankel's Reality Reckoning in that Vanity Fair article. It feels like there were bombs set in place all over this quote unquote battlefield, if you will. And now the button has been hit one at a time, day after day after day. On top of that, well, Brittany Cartwright has confirmed that she and Jax Taylor, after 4 years of marriage, are separated. She confirmed this on the podcast that is, I forget the name of their podcast now off of the top of my head. I believe it's Back to Reality in Reality, something along those lines. That is supposed to be both Jax and Brittany's podcast, but Brittany was solo with one of her co-stars of The Valley, which is going to premiere on March 19th. The timing, yes, I know, I agree. It is suspect. It truly is. But Brittany confirmed in the last few minutes of the podcast that was released today that she's living in a separate home from Jax. She said, "Pray for us, y'all." Okay. You know, the timing is suspect. I have a hard time believing that Brittany would do this for promotion, but I mean, it's the day before the anniversary of the night of Sandoval. Y'all, woo! I'm when I say bravo, I love you. I started this podcast just because I love the shows, and I've been watching these shows for years. I remember when I had to start going without cable and doing just like the Apple TV, and the thing that I missed the most, and this was over, like a decade ago. Wow, close to that. I literally was gifted for Christmas one year cable because I wanted to watch Housewives. That has been, I have loved all of this since then. Coming into podcasting and recapping, I was like, oh, I'll just talk about the shows. Oh my God. I don't know if any of y'all feel exhausted, like your head is spinning the way mine is. I mean, I'm exhausted. My weave is exhausted. The panty liner on my underwear is exhausted. If you know, you know. Wow. Okay. I just went through all of that as quickly as I could, but let's break down a little bit more about this all happening, especially with Jax and Brittany. She stood by him through the cheating, through the rotten hail. They got married. They had a baby, little Cruz. Um, part of me feels very sad for Brittany, but then part of me is like, you married Jax Taylor, baby doll. uh, I mean, he, after the passing of his father, it really seemed like he was going to make the changes. It really did. But we had heard more cheating rumors with him over the years. And we thought, well, you know what? They're off TV. Whatever is kind of how I felt about it because I'm like, I can't speculate over Jax Taylor Couchy. I'm sorry, Jason Couchy. I it makes me sad to hear of any family with young children breaking up. But at the same time, it's Jax. I don't know if we're going I don't know. I don't know. I mean, is this another one of the modern farmhouses that a couple's going to be fighting over? What about the modern farmhouses? Don't they deserve a home with a family? Hi, Christine. I'm so glad you could join. I'm just feeling a little unhinged today after this week. It's just a lot. On top of that, the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, my goodness, we got that first part of the reunion. And I'm just going to be honest, I don't know if I can cover Vanderpump Rules. It wasn't interesting. But yeah, one more thing I want to jump back to regarding the Leah McSweeney lawsuit. So this is another one I've done everything I can to get my hands on the actual documents. So now I have to go in it for whatever reason. I can't seem to get them. I have the accounts to do it and it's not working out. But that being said, Leah McSweeney suing Bravo, NBC Universal, and specifically Andy Cohen, Lisa Shannon, John Paparazzo, and Darren Ward. Now, the main thing of her suit is about the environment. It's about the harassment that she claims she was on the receiving end of. It's about a hostile workplace, sex and gender discrimination, and not being accommodated properly for her quote unquote disabilities. Her disabilities that she lists are bipolar disorder, and it is also her alcohol abuse disorder. So it's a little bipolar disorder is considered a disability, just in the same way that ADHD, autism, depression, schizophrenia, anything like that in a workplace. Alcohol abuse disorder is kind of difficult because it's not quite as recognized, from what I understand, by employment laws or the disability acts, should I say. She also claims that it's very well known that she converted to Judaism. And when she was on the Real Housewives Ultimate Girls trip in Thailand, there were dishes that were constantly prepared that were not prepared properly for someone of the Jewish faith, i.e., with pork products in them. Now, one of the things that's mentioned in this suit is that she claims that the producers would encourage the women on her shows to antagonize her in order to get her to drink. But the Thailand portion is where I can say, yes, that was actually something she has proof of, where, remember, Heather Gay said that she wanted to get Leah drunk. Interesting. I'm struggling with all of this because I absolutely want to say with the most compassion and empathy and just from the heart that alcohol addiction, I have many people in my life who struggle with that. It is a daily, hourly fight. And I have the most empathy I possibly could for that. And I can assure you of that. Where I struggle is the lack of accountability on Leah's end, where she knew she had this absolute dogfight that she is in every single hour and day after being sober for so many years. And she tells us herself when she joins RHONY and we're introduced to her, and she says, I've been sober for X many years, and I decided to start drinking again before joining. And she says she decided this before she was cast, wanting to see if she could do it. Now, this is a normal thing that happens with people who struggle with alcohol addiction. It's not unheard of that they just want to see if they can drink like quote unquote normal people, and it doesn't work out. And that makes me very sad, and it breaks my heart for anyone struggling with that. That being said, when you're just like with Brandy, when you're a grown adult and you are, whether you're being encouraged to or not, you know your limits. And when you decide to go past them, baby, that's on you. Now, that's not to say that someone who makes bad choices can't be a victim, because that's absolutely possible. And I struggle with Leah then choosing to go on another season after seeing the environment, knowing what it's about. And to put that into context, it can't possibly be that it was a situation where Leah was so desperate for a paycheck that she said, I have to join this show, because this show dynamic is completely based on aspirational wealthy women. So she was supposed to already be, for all intents and purposes, in New York. Wealthy is a totally different game. And we all know that. Whether she was living in a 1-bedroom apartment or not, I don't know about you, but I cannot afford a 1-bedroom apartment in Manhattan, let alone the Upper East Side, wherever it is she was living. I believe, from what I understand, she lives in the financial district. Now, until I get more confirmation on this, I have heard more accusations around Leah and what she allows in her home, but I'm not going to divulge that until there's more information. Sorry, don't mean to be a tease. But Leah should not have come back for the second season, her second season, I should say, and then go on the girls' trip. If it was that terrible for you, why were you doing it? I understand. Again, there's a paycheck, but you were supposed to already be aspirationally wealthy. So it just doesn't make sense. Make it make sense. Because on top of that, she said that she was going to take $0 for any suit she filed against Bravo. What that could mean is she's going to donate the money. I could see her donating the money to a rehabilitation center, to a Jewish foundation. That I could see happening. But she also, in the suit, doesn't list that she's seeking any specified damages. So it's like, what are we doing? It's not the Taylor Swift suing for $1, but, that was a countersuit. So it still doesn't make sense. Oh man, y'all, it's just kind of nonstop. But let me tell you, so that we don't have any of the panic, where I think Bravo is going to go from here, because I've heard a lot of people saying, "Oh, Andy's going to be removed, blah 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 blah." Do I believe, and this is just my personal opinion and intuition speaking, and if you know me, you know I have very good intuition. In fact, I learned the hard way that I absolutely have to follow it, because I remember the night before Sandoval broke, I noticed that Sheena had cut Rachel out of all of her pictures from Watch What Happens Live, and I almost said something. Almost did. And I didn't. God damn it. I'll kick myself for that the rest of my goddamn life. Anywho, my prediction for Bravo. I do not believe that they are going to replace Andy as the host of Watch What Happens Live. What do I think is going to happen? We're not going to have Watch What Happens Live anymore. I don't think we are going to have Watch What Happens Live anymore. The rumors about it being canceled have been going around for years. The only reason those rumors went away was because of Sandoval. And then we were watching Watch What Happens Live even more intensely. I love Watch What Happens Live. This is not anything along the lines of saying that I don't want it to be on the air. What I think is going to happen is we already now have after shows. Do you notice this? We have it for Beverly Hills, and we've been doing it for Vanderpump Rules. This is a newer thing. That is what I think that they are going to start peddling immediately after episodes, so that Andy can go, quote unquote, spend time with his children. I do believe that they might consider rotating out different moderators for the Housewives reunions and the reunions in general. Now, do I think that it's going to be necessarily a Bravo person? No. What I see is that BravoCon, we had a lot of wonderful MCs. We had obviously Karamo, we had Dave Quinn, we had we've had Jeff Lewis, we've had Jerry O'Connell, many people, Zuri from Entertainment Tonight. To me, that was almost like them auditioning to fill a host role on maybe something like that. Now, I also do believe that they are going to change the dynamic of how Housewives and other shows on Bravo are run. And what I mean by that is, I believe that they are going to have as much drama as possible be centered around things that don't involve alcohol. But how would they get people to the point that they are as free and emotional as they are with alcohol? I'll tell you how. It's something they already do. It's something they do on game shows. They are going to put them in positions where they are already stressed out, tired, and annoyed and pissed off. How can they do that? Put them in environments that are hot, that they are doing physical activity, that they are then immediately after, say, a physical activity, forced to bond and have an Eagle Woman Beverly Hills moment, if you will. Or they'll put them in the cold. They'll make their flights longer for their trips and make them show up for call times that are way earlier or way later in the evening, where the ones who really want to have a drink can't have one. Trust me. It came to my mind that this is what they are probably going to do, from a tactic that some directors use with actors who are not getting to where they need to be in a scene emotionally. Sometimes if they can't get them there, what do? They will crank up the heat in a studio or on the set where everyone is just like so uncomfortable. They'll make them do take after take after take until they are so emotionally drained that they are emotional and they get there. So that's where I'm saying they are taking this. But then what are they going to do with the lack of possible content? I think they're going to do some game shows. What do I think they're going to do? Maybe instead of Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip, they are going to take women that they would have put on the Ultimate Girls Trips and they're going to do the game shows a la Traders. Maybe not exactly Traders, but they're going to do things like that. They're going to change it up so that they can lighten up the network because it has been heavy, 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 heavy. Oh, and I just saw a comment, and this is from Christine. I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher your name. Christine is a Samantha nerd. Okay, is a math nerd. Oh my God, I can't read. Jesus. And y'all are relying on me to just talk when I can't even read. So Christine says here that, Caitlin, did you know Watch What Happens Live contract expired December 2023 and hasn't been renewed yet? I did not know that. Hey, I'm already here. Let's take a look. I'm sorry, I'm typing. Expired 2023. Let's see. Okay, so interesting. It looks like it was only renewed through 2023. Let's just take a look if there's anything about 2024. No. It looks like on the Hollywood Reporter here, I'm seeing Andy Cohen's Watch What Happens Live renewed through 2023, and that was in January of 2022. So good looking out, Christine. Thank you for the info. Yes. So I'm trying to give you all of these predictions, thoughts, information to let you know that I don't believe Bravo is dead. I do believe Bethany she's been real quiet. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed? And it's funny because she is now an actor. Yeah, she is. She's been in Canada shooting a little made-for-TV film for 2 weeks. I mean, what other kind of film would she be shooting? But it's funny because I was looking up productions that were happening in Canada, and the only one I didn't tap on that I didn't think could possibly be the film that she was doing is the one she's doing. It's called Danger in the Dorm. You know, but it's all really exploding around Bravo right now. And this is aside from what Sandoval said in the New York Times, I don't think people are going to be boycotting Bravo due to what all is happening. Because another one of the allegations Leah McSweeney had made was that Andy does cocaine with a coterie of, I probably said the word wrong. So many of us Bravo fans had to look up that word. Isn't that cute? Aren't we fancy? A coterie of housewives. And he gives a good edit to the favorites. Okay. Can we all just be very, very brutally honest with each other for just a second? I am not saying that that is true. But what I am saying is that those of us very, very well immersed in the Bravoverse, not just your regular fans, not your civilian fans, but us Bravo fans. This was not a shocking allegation to us. We went, not snow with Andy Cohen. Never. It's not like Kathy Griffin already accused him of that. Look, I'm not saying it's true at all. I'm really not. But I am saying that it was not even remotely surprising to us non-civilian Bravo people. Okay. But the point of that particular statement was only to get the attention of the media. It had nothing to do with the suit because she had no proof of it. It was just an allegation. So, it's just been, let's just call it what it is. It's been a shit show. A real shit show, y'all. Okay. Should we? I'm afraid to even move past this because I guarantee I'm going to pick up my phone in a second and I'm going to be like, oh, well, God damn it. Something else just came out. Woo. Okay. Do you want to get into the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills? Because we can't do Vanderpump Rules. I am so sorry. Graham Cracker, Hippie, Dippy, Foo, Biter is adorable and I wish him well. But I cannot talk at any length about Tom Sandoval hitting a wall crying over what he did. Aside from the fact that we learned that Tom Sandoval loaned Sheena several $1,000s during the pandemic, and that is probably part of why she feels so guilty about not immediately coming to his aid. Let's get into Beverly Hills because that's so light and airy, right? Isn't it? Okay. I'm not going to lie to y'all. I enjoyed part 1 of the reunion. I did because we didn't get so much thrown at us at a time. I also feel like, and I'm so sad Giorgio couldn't be here again. This was not on him. It was a scheduling conflict that happened on my end. That was rare. But I just feel like at the beginning of this, when Avi is saying to Sutton, no crying today, strong Sutton, Giorgio would have to be saying that to me. Absolutely. If he were there, he would be like, bitch, you better suck those tears right back up into the tear ducts. We are not doing this today, honey. And then let's just have a moment about Andy telling Kyle that Mauricio is there as a joke. Yeah, that felt a little brutal and a little too soon. Don't you think? I mean, I was like, because she was like, shut up. And he's like, yeah, I'm just kidding. I would have been like, okay, I guess I have to I don't know, do something that I shouldn't do. Dorit and Erica in Dorit's trailer where, oh my God, Dorit is the most unserious woman who takes herself so seriously on this planet. Girl, why do you have an IV? I thought she was going to at least be like, yes, well, I was sick and I just needed a little vitamin B12 boost. Bitch, why do you have an IV? You are insane. You are literally out of your mind. I'm so sorry. You are, ma'am. So when she's saying that whole thing that Kyle sent her this message to silence her, and I felt like it was manipulation. I'm going to tell you what I think it was. I think that Kyle had so much anxiety leading up to this reunion that she was like, oh my God, okay, should I text Dorit or shouldn't I? Should I or shouldn't I? And she finally bit the bullet and did it the night before. I think that Kyle should have reached out beforehand? Yes. But I think it's pretty clear that they're not as good of friends as Dorit would like us to believe they are. Period. I'm sorry. I think that you know me. I took the screenshots. I looked at the message. Kyle was not being manipulative. I think she was just trying to say, look, I have lost enough people due to this show. I can't have a rematch of last year with you instead of with my own sister. Kyle, what she has lost by way of relationships on this show, let's just start with LVP. She and LVP, I do believe that they were true, genuine friends. They may have had a slightly toxic friendship, but I do believe that they were very good friends. That gone, goodbye. Let's talk about where it started with Kim and when it eventually got to Kathy, because when you are having relationships within family severed, it's not just her two sisters. It's the nieces, the nephews, the cousins, the family friends who have to pick a side. That's where it's like, let's truly intellectualize what it came down to. And it made me very sad that Dorit is using this to give herself the trampoline up to be like, well,
Kyle is so manipulative.
girl, get out of here. And, that's when Dorit says to Erica that
You said on Watch What Happens Live, you wanted everyone to get eviscerated. Fair is fair. This is the reunion.
and look, Erica agrees.
She's like, oh, I hear you. And I hate every moment of it. Excuse me, I have a show to go put on. Because I'm a showman, Dorit.
So Sutton and Garcelle start walking to the stage, and I have to be honest. I kept saying this as I was watching. I was like, Sutton doesn't look like she's feeling that well. Something on her face as she was walking up, she's also saying she can't feel her feet, but that's because she has peripheral neuropathy. I've told you all before, my father has peripheral neuropathy due to medication that he's had to take. It's something that happens also with diabetics, things like that. Can you imagine walking in high heels? Like, when you accidentally sit on your foot for too long or lay on your arm in your sleep and you're numb? Like, the number of times I have woken up in a panic being like, okay, it's severed. My arm's gone. It's gone. It's gone. Call 911. And it's not. I just have to flop that fucker around as much as possible. Imagine your feet always feeling that and then walking in high heels. Yo, that's a lot to be doing. So they also have to wait forever for
Dorit to be sewn into her dress.
And I mean, my God, this woman. And Dorit finally walks in. I wish I had. Wait, do I have anything just like, she's like the Virgin Mary walking. I don't know. I'm unhinged today, guys. What can I say? And Garcelle even mutters under her breath, Mother Teresa. And they're all like, oh, you can tell they're like, interesting. That's a choice. It was an absolute choice. I am so glad you have it cleared up, though. What the correct pronunciation of Anna Marie's name is. It is Anna Marie because it's Dutch, spelled Anne-Marie, but Anna Marie. And Andy asks Dorit eventually after he says all of his hellos, so what look were you going for today, Dorit?
I was going for fashion.
Child of the world, my people. Child of the world. Andy says that Dorit told him before the show that she would be speaking in bullet points tonight. Well, she kind of did. Kind of. There were points made, but they weren't. Andy brings up that Erica said she wanted Kyle to be eviscerated and Watch What Happens Live. Y'all, I don't know if I just am misremembering because, I don't know, Bravo has been putting us through the goddamn ringer lately. But I never heard Erica say,
I want to see Kyle get eviscerated. It's her turn at the reunion. Go ahead and fuck her up, Andy. Call her a lesbian and say she needs to start drinking alcohol again.
I never heard her say that. I heard her say that she thought it was everyone else's turn. And that's the clip they showed. So Kyle ends up saying to her that her feelings were hurt, but that she feels like Erica is an amazing friend and she loves her dearly and she's very important to her. So she didn't take it too personally. Now, I don't know, man. Part of me would be like, if I were Kyle and I saw that and I saw the actual clip, I'd be like, okay, well, she didn't say my name. So what? Okay. But Andy asks Erica if she feels like his questions to her of the last two reunions were out of line.
And she's like, well, Andy, you were in my ass.
Okay. More boundary crossing there with employment practices, huh? Guess we got to work on that one. And then Andy asks Dorit how she feels about what Kyle said about her friendship with Erica. And Dorit says,
I kind of got stuck on when she said the headlines, and they hurt her because it's much the same when I saw the headline that said Kyle said Dorit exaggerated the friendship, but because, that stung. That really stung.
I don't know if the red means like, is she auditioning for Traitors? I'm still very confused. And all I could think when I was watching it, I was like, Dorit is going to be so furious when she sees the clip that is holding her Virgin Mary headscarf on. Because I don't think this was a cultural look thing. If it was, please tell me and forgive me because I don't mean any offense by it. It's Dorit. She's known to be quite offensive, as we will learn. In case we didn't already know. So Kyle tells her that she said that in response to the things that she, as in Dorit, said about her throughout the season. Like Dorit asking her about her marriage on camera and her saying on Watch What Happens Live that,
Kyle's going to kill me for saying this, but I kind of feel like the closer Kyle gets to Morgan, the further she gets from me.
And Kyle asks her how many times they've gone to lunch without filming, but Dorit does not even answer. Answer the question, Dorit. Answer the question. How many lunches have you gone to with Kyle Richards without cameras around?
Tell me.
0. Dorit ends up saying that,
well, Mel and PK are best friends.
Girl, that is the worst point you could be making. Kyle is separating from her husband, yet you want to weaponize that her husband and your husband are best friends? Ma'am. She's like out of her mind sometimes. I don't even know. So Dorit says she has tried to ask Kyle to go for a walk. Whatever. And Kyle says, well, it's because Kyle's all about working out right now. Obviously. That's her whole personality at this point, aside from flannels, ripped jeans, and leather. And corsets. But leather. Mostly leather. Pleather, I will say. And Kyle says that she tried to include Dorit in a workout and that Dorit had to sit down on the cement because she doesn't work out. Dorit says that Kyle and her friends consider a brisk walk to be 10 miles, but Kyle's like,
it was a flat loop. Okay.
It's hilarious to me at this point. We're arguing over what a real workout is considered by who. I mean, okay. So, where am I? Ooh, they mostly go back and forth with Kyle saying the things Dorit was saying on camera and all of that regarding her and Morgan were the things she knew would make it worse for her in the media. The stuff like Kyle feeding Morgan the fruit on the stick. Now, listen, that was not another smoking gun of a romantic relationship, but the Watch What Happens Live hip and booty pat just kind of were. I don't know. I'm exhausted of reading into every little thing I can. Just tell us the truth, Kyle. Actually, Morgan, you tell us. Tell us, Morgan. Tell us. So then Dorit points out that the Morgan things in the media have been there and they're not there because of the things that Dorit says. But bitch, you sure didn't help. So Kyle says Dorit is very important to her and that she loves her dearly. And Dorit's like,
that's very nice to hear. But I know that if I say something, you're a punisher.
and that Kyle will ice her out if she doesn't like something and brings up her messaging her the night before the reunion. But Dorit's like,
It felt manipulative, Kyle.
and Kyle's like, well, it wasn't intended that way. Okay. So we get to Garcelle and Dorit. Dorit took Garcelle saying that she didn't feel safe having her children around the women more personally than anyone else. And I think it's because Dorit took that word unsafe and tried to turn it into Garcelle saying that she didn't feel that her children were physically safe around them, when that is not even remotely what Garcelle was saying. Garcelle was saying she didn't feel her children were emotionally and mentally protected around them after Erica had yelled, fuck off to her kid. And, I still stand by saying that I don't think Erica meant it to be as harsh as it came out. Okay. I don't think she meant it the way it came off as well. Doesn't make it right. Because I'll tell you what, you say that to my kid and I will show you what fuck off means. Okay. Thank you so much. But Andy brings up Garcelle saying that Dorit is an unconscious Karen. And Garcelle is just like, you know what? Dorit's just unaware. And Dorit's saying Garcelle has to judge her on her character when she doesn't know all the words. And this is regarding the word attack. So Garcelle is saying to her, you were attacked in your home. This is what I found very fascinating, my friends. Dorit cuts her off immediately to clarify,
I was robbed.
well, I don't know about you, but you don't have to actually physically touch me. But if you are showing a gun around me or demanding I do something, or you may hurt me or my child, that is an attack. Yes, that's also being robbed, but that is a mother effing attack. Oh my God. It's wild to me that she clarified that. I don't know why. Maybe I'm so used to just looking into every little teensy tiny thing at this point, but something about that doesn't sit right with me. Doesn't. Garcelle lets her know that, look, the point is, you know the difference between an attack and one that isn't. And the fact that Dorit would still say that Garcelle attacked her. It's just at this point, the frustration of Dorit not just going, you know what? I am so sorry. That was wrong of me to say. It was a poor choice in verbiage. And I appreciate you having the patience to educate me when it's not your job. Thank you. I am learning. I will do better. And then and again, I am so sorry. Move on. But no, you double down. You just keep doubling down. It's like, for the love of God. Can you imagine arguing with that woman? I would lose my freaking mind. And not that she lets anyone get a word in otherwise, but Jesus. Because then Anna Marie chimes in that when Dorit and Garcelle had the conversation, and when Garcelle told Dorit that you don't call Black women angry or aggressive, which is true, you don't do that. She brings up the conversation at Sutton's store with the goddamn esophagus. I'm so sick of that word. Anna Marie says that Sutton told her she was yelling at her and that Garcelle didn't say anything. And Garcelle points out, we all yell at each other. Now, look, I will say that everyone, as in Sutton and Anna Marie, were talking at an elevated voice level. So if Sutton, you're talking at the same voice level as someone else, don't say that they're yelling, but you're not. That's my point of view on that, just to begin with. That's number one. Number two, I don't know if you are feeling as though someone is yelling at you, how to try and convey that in a way that's not making things worse. Like telling a woman to calm down, baptize a cat, and that will be easier than telling an upset woman to calm down. It's much easier. You put that little demon kitty in some holy water, and that will go over a lot swifter than telling a female who is angry to calm down. I'm not saying that Anna Marie was angry. She was just frustrated, I think. And I think she was just coming on pretty strong in that moment. And it was loud in the venue. That's what it was. So that being said, I do hear the point. I do also feel that Anna Marie could have had Garcelle's back on this specific thing while also having Dorit's. How do I mean that? She could have looked at Dorit and said, you know what? I want you to know that you have done something right when you defended me in that moment when I was being told I was yelling and you were recognizing that I was being portrayed as an angry Black woman. So, if you can recognize that, can you recognize how Garcelle is feeling as a Black woman hearing you say the word attack? Two things can be true at the same time. In fact, that's mostly the common thing for two things to be true at the same time, is what I mean. But yeah, it's just like a back and forth of, oh, well, you can stand up for yourself, Anna Marie. You were doing just fine that night. And Anna Marie just keeps going, I'm talking. And, the look on Garcelle's face it was almost like she felt like she'd been betrayed by Anna Marie in that moment, because I think Garcelle recognizes that Anna Marie could have been saying, she could have easily, like I just said, been like, you know what, Dorit, I appreciated that there was a moment that you did do the right thing by trying to have my back when it was a similar-ish circumstance. This is a moment where you can just see that's what you need to recognize. Simple. It doesn't need to be that, because that's the thing too. I feel like Anna Marie is very much, it's either this way or that way. There is no in between. There is no gray area with her. She can't just concede to things being malleable when it comes to what is right and wrong. She was exhausting the shit out of me. And they bring up that Dorit posted on Instagram twice about being in her bubble. And yet Dorit, they're like, that was you doubling down. And then Dorit doubles down on that. Girl, I don't know. Like, help me help you. And then she goes worse. Dorit's, it's just unreal. Because this isn't what it was about. Dorit looks at Garcelle.
Do you like me?
Sometimes.
Do you have a problem with me?
There's something, obviously.
Obviously. Do you want to try to work through it? Do you want to try and have a friendship?
I'm not sure. See, Dorit doesn't ask the right questions ever. This wasn't about whether Garcelle actually just likes her or not. This was about you needing to go, hey, I screwed up. Simple. We all screw up. Oh my God, we all do. I'm trying to watch my ass every day from saying something stupid that I think is funny. Not that I would, you know what I'm saying. Not along the lines of what Dorit's been saying, but you never want to offend anyone, but sometimes you do. And so you have to learn and say, I'm sorry. It's very simple when it's brought to your attention. God, I feel like I'm talking to about toddlers when y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all are watching the same thing I am. You know what I'm saying. Oh, that sex package. I could do without it. I'm sorry. I just could. I don't know. It's like watching your very attractive aunt being involved in stuff. Not like your mother, you know what I'm saying, but like your aunt who you're like, okay, that's a bit much. I'm good. Thank you. So Dorit was upset that Crystal said she hadn't seen a real body part in years. And when she admits that her boobs aren't real, like, okay, whose boobs are like typically real anymore? Anyway, I know Sutton's are, but like, anyway. Andy brings up that Kyle has had the speculations of her and Teddy being romantically involved, which I forgot about that. I mean, it just seems so ludicrous to begin with that it just flew over my head, in all honesty. And Andy says to Kyle that she went from admitting she'd date a woman in scissoring Dorit, and she went from that of like being very straight-laced to doing all of this. And he asks what changed. And Kyle points out this was pretty fascinating to me because, again, I'm reading into everything that I probably shouldn't. Kyle says growing up with her mom, everything had to be a certain way and by the book. So in my thoughts, I'm not making accusations, but it sounds like Big Kathy, as in Mama Kathy, would not have been okay with any of her daughters being with anyone but a man, and a man who is wealthy. We know that much. And Kyle admits that she has changed over the last year and that, I don't know what the future holds. So why wouldn't I say maybe? And I love how Sutton tells her that they would support her no matter what if that were the case, as in if she were, say, dating a female. There is something that, I just was thinking about shower thoughts the other day. It is already notoriously difficult, often dangerous, and scary as hell for people who are gay to come out of the closet, so to speak. I don't want to say out of the closet. I feel like that's another thing that's outdated. To come out. And I cannot imagine the added difficulty of being in the public eye, having a family, having lived your life one way for so many years. And then maybe after becoming sober, you're like, well, this is what I'm into. And this is how I feel inside. I can't imagine with your family and everything in the public eye how terrifying that would be if you are experiencing that. I just kind of want to remind people and even myself, it's terrifying to think of having to talk publicly about your sex life in general, but your preferences, who your soul loves. Like it's just I don't that's that's a lot. That's a lot. So I just kind of want to make that note for everyone to think about that just a little bit so we can try and have some grace. But also, Kyle, tell us what's going on. Okay. The Anna Marie package. Oh, Jesus. So the 8.5 thing. Oh, I can't. It's just too no, that would not be a compliment to me. Do not call me an 8.5. If you don't call me a 10, I don't care if you're telling me the truth. You better lie to me. You lie and you say I'm a 10 out of 10. You can be in your head knowing maybe I'm a 6, but I don't give a shit. You tell me I'm a 10, you gas my ass up and let me believe it. Lie to me. God. Okay, so sad gear change. We find out Anna Marie's mother was dying from a tumor when she joined the show, and she didn't tell anyone. And she said she wanted to compartmentalize, which, I think it did her a disservice not sharing what she was going through, considering Kyle talking about, going through her loss. I think it would have helped her bond with the women in a different way. But, for whatever reason, I do respect that she, didn't want to share. I respect whatever people don't want to share. But at the same time, I'm like, I think the audience would have really softened to her a lot more because she does break down over how hard it's been, the way the audience has been hard on her. I am one of them. But also, you still continued to be an 8.5 jerk out of 10. You weren't a 10, you were an 8.5. So there, I'm being nice. We get to the Crystal and Anna Marie of it all. And Anna Marie says that Crystal was awesome when she met her and there were no cameras. But once the cameras were up, she was a totally different person. I find that interesting. But Andy asks if maybe Crystal misheard Anna Marie say that she was an anesthetist and that she did not say she was an anesthesiologist because they sound similar. To me, they don't. There's the ologist at the end, but okay. But Crystal says no because her half-sister is an anesthesiologist with a private practice at Cedars. And that Anna Marie said, well, I'm an anesthetist, but most people don't know the difference. So Anna Marie says she's going to tell everyone what really happened. And she claims that when she first met Crystal, Crystal said that I'm a housewife. And Crystal was like, nobody talks like that. I would never walk in and be like, hi, I'm a housewife and I talk like that. And Anna Marie's like, the only reason I'm not talking is because I'm not going to talk over you. I'm not going to do that today. You have been proven to be a liar. Oh, I'm so sorry. Did you not insinuate that this girl, did you not say that I said that she had an eating disorder twice? Oh my God. Okay, we will get to that. Did you not insinuate? You have proven to be a liar. So basically, they're not going to yell. And Dorit goes, I think liar's a strong word. Dorit, shut up. I'm sorry. Oh. So Erica says that she knew that Anna Marie was an anesthetist. And Crystal's like, of course, because you're on the show. That's how you know that. And Kyle ends up saying that after she had first met Anna Marie and she'd been around her more than once, she still thought she was a doctor. So she could understand how someone would think that. And Crystal tells Anna Marie that she thinks she continually and intentionally misrepresents herself because people don't know the difference. And Anna Marie goes into this whole thing. Now, I intended to ask a few people about this, but Bravo has really been keeping us busy today, so I didn't have a chance. But I find it interesting how Anna Marie's like, "Oh, well, can I explain why it's such a big deal? The American Society of Anesthesiologists and the American Association of Nurse Anesthesiology, there are a lot of political issues that exist there. It's like almost like there is a market turf war." So when Kyle asks why, because a doctor and a nurse can do the same thing, she says yes. And that essentially she agrees to Kyle saying, okay, so the doctors take the business an anesthetist could have, but for a different price. Okay, listen, I have close family members that are physician. And, we need nurses just as much as we need doctors, if not more. But there are so many different things that doctors do. And, a doctor has to go through a lot more schooling. Anesthesiology is such a delicate and important profession, whether it's I can't say the word. Sorry. Whether someone's an anesthetist. God, that word is really difficult to say. Whether someone is an anesthetist or an anesthesiologist, they are imperative for surgical procedures and other procedures. So, yeah. When Crystal's asking her, so what does the anesthesiologist that you work with or under feel about this comment? And Anna Marie says she's actually an independent practitioner. And Crystal says, no, you have to work under a practice or group under an MD, which is what I thought as well. But Anna Marie says that she actually doesn't because there are 23 states and Guam who do not require physician anesthesiologist supervision. So Crystal's saying that a physician anesthesiologist is redundant and they're just going back and forth. But when Crystal says to her, that Anna Marie weaponized her profession against Sutton. And Anna Marie goes on her other tangent trying to say that Crystal is degrading her profession. And they're all like, no, that's not it. And, Sutton said, Anna Marie does eventually, sorry, I lost my place for a second. Anna Marie says she is very sorry to Sutton. She apologizes for how she behaved and how she handled the entire situation with Sutton and the questioning of her esophageal issues. Okay. Sutton lets her know that her issue was the going behind her back and talking about it, then saying she used this ailment as a front for an eating disorder. And they come back from break, and this is hysterical. Kyle tells Andy that Crystal ran into LVP, Ms. Vanderpump herself, and had to tell her she was on the show because LVP was like, and who are you? And then I guess Lisa was like, oh, is Kyle still on there? I believe that LVP said, like, girl, Oh my God. And so then we get to Crystal's package. And, Crystal, it's brought up how Crystal has struggled with how everyone has really lost a lot of weight and gotten extremely thin over the last few years. And it's been very triggering for her with her eating disorder. She was most upset with Anna Marie at the Homeless Not Toothless event because of the eating disorder accusation. Because this is what we all were saying was like, of all the people, Crystal is the one who absolutely would never falsely speculate or accuse someone behind their back of having an eating disorder. If Crystal was concerned about that with Sutton, you bet your ass Crystal would have gone directly to Sutton and had a conversation. She sure as shit wouldn't have talked to Anna Marie about it. I'm just saying. And we saw it on camera. She didn't. Anna Marie clarifies that no one said Sutton had an eating disorder. Then Crystal's saying that the whole thing about Crystal saying that the women are uneducated to Anna Marie is brought up. And she basically just says that she tells people that they have dumbass conversations on the show. And all the women know essentially that she says that. But Anna Marie brings up Crystal's accusation against Sutton, Crystal's first season, saying that Sutton had said something dark that was off camera and it was just her feeling. But yes, it was intimated that Crystal felt Sutton had said something racist, and it was never brought up what was actually said. And that wasn't the best look for Crystal, but I have to say, I feel like Crystal ate up Anna Marie for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And people may agree or disagree with me, but I'm sorry, she did it. And then eventually Anna Marie says to Crystal, I do not want to be a part of your system of lies. And Crystal's like, you're not a part of it, so don't worry about it. Boom. Yes, queen. Oh, that was great. And then when asked, Dorit, being most offended by the uneducated comment. I mean, Dorit could not shove those horse hoof heels up into her mouth any further. I thought she couldn't, but she's like,
I think I'm the only one here with a college degree.
and they point out that 3 people sitting there have them. And Crystal says, I'm going to stand by the uneducated comment based on you calling me a child bride. That is a disgusting thing to say. And then Dorit goes,
They call Priscilla Presley a child bride.
because she was a teenager. She was an actual teenager when she married Elvis Presley. I think she was 16. And Garcelle just kind of goes like, see, this is what I'm talking about. Because Crystal's like, okay, I'm an Asian person. As an Asian person, child bride is equivalent to mail order bride. Do you know that? Because y'all, don't say Crystal is reaching here, because she's not. She was 24. Rob was what, like 44? And when they got married, so she already probably has to deal with side eyes like that just because her husband is white, and I believe he's Jewish as well. But then you add in,
Oh, okay, child bride. What were you, like 12?
because Kyle also tries to, I think, stand up for Dorit by being like, oh, everyone says whenever you're trying to say someone was like a child, oh, how old are you? Like 12? Because that reminds Crystal that she said that. But after Crystal says to Dorit, did you know that that is the equivalent of calling me a mail order bride? And Dorit goes,
Now I do. And obviously, it was a throwaway comment in my confessional. That was not what I was insinuating. It was off the back of you calling us unintelligent.
Dorit, apologize. 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 So Crystal says, and you said that I got married at 12. I got married at 24. I had already gone to college, and I built a company worth over $100 million right now. The coconut water company. Oh, she ate her house up too. And Dorit goes,
Wow. Amazing.
she said it the way she'd be like,
Oh, Jackie, that's amazing. You really tried to throw that baseball to Mummy.
so Crystal then goes, so for you to say that you were in college and getting all this education and building businesses while I was getting married at 12 is bullshit. It's a microaggressive comment. Then Dorit goes,
I totally understand. That was not my intention. And so lesson learned. And I appreciate it.
Dorit, did you apologize anywhere in there? Like, you know what? While that wasn't my intention, I am very sorry. I appreciate you bringing it to my attention and apologize that you even had to. Jesus. So I guess when Crystal's asked how she feels about having a voice now, she loves it and she loves being here. Before I keep moving on, can I shamelessly ask that wherever you're listening, please leave me a 5-star review and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thank you so much. It makes my day. And follow all the social media channels. Okay. I love you so much. I'm so appreciative of all you besties being here. And I'm also going to say hi to a few people. Okay, I already said hi to Kristen, I'm sorry. Hi, Adam. Hi, Kelly. Hi, CJ, Evelyn. Hi, Miriam. And hi, Evangelina. Blah, 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 blah. It's been a long day. It's so nice to see you all besties. Thank you for joining. Okay, we're going to move on to the conclusion of all of this. Well, one of Kyle's many packages is up, I'm sure. One of many. It's pointed out that a big motivation for Kyle's life changes was the loss of her friend Laureen. And she's still struggling with dissociation some days, and she can basically barely move from the sofa some other days, but she is in therapy, which is great. I really big proponent of therapy. It's brought up that Kyle's issues with Dorit started at the reunion last year when she gave her 2 cents regarding Kathy. And Dorit says that she and Kathy had a relationship independent of Kyle and that she had never hung out with the sisters together until they did the show. But Kyle says her point is that she and Dorit, as in Kyle and Dorit, were closer than Dorit is with Kathy, and that the conversations that Kyle and Dorit had together led her to believe that she was on her side, basically. And Dorit says that feeling came from Kyle telling her stories from the past about Kathy. And then she says, oh, the audacity, Dorit. Oh, my Lord.
That I don't want to bring up here.
The threat? Oh, my God. Dorit's bitch ass knows something. Some things. She knows plenty of things because I feel like Kyle is so nervous of getting into it with her. And Dorit is such, I'm sorry, that's what I call a shitty friend, that they would use anything you have told them against you, especially when you have issues with your relationship with this friend. That does not ever mean you divulge all of their secrets just to out them and say, look, this person's such a shitty person. Look at all these things they've done in their life and things they've told me and this and that. No, that's not what you do. That just makes you look bad. God, I have strong feelings about it. Am I about to have a toddler tantrum? Which, by the way, can I just tell y'all, my child's been putting me through it lately. When I say I, with my entire soul and being, love the shit out of that tiny little shit. But oh my God, he's been testing me. Didn't know I had the patience I have been exhibiting. So moving on, don't even know why I brought that up, but just wanted you to know. Kyle reminds Dorit that it wasn't just the things that she would tell her about Kathy, but it was also the whole Aspen thing that had Kyle believing that Dorit was on her side. Kyle ends up saying that when Dorit told Kyle that Kathy just needs some support, it was like Dorit just wanted to be on the side of the audience, because at that time, the audience was very supportive of Kathy and pretty against Kyle. I mean, we were all side-eyeing Kyle a little bit for not supporting Kathy against Lisa Rinna. So, and they show the clip of when Dorit was like,
Well, she just needs to feel supported by you, Kyle.
and Kyle was like, I don't want you to be involved in this at all. Period. So, Dorit claims that she doesn't even follow what the audience says. After Kyle tells her she felt like there were many times that Dorit was like trying to pander to the audience. Because let me tell you, this is what happens when you are just pandering to the audience and not being authentic. We can see it. That's why Heather Gay, that season, what season was it? Season 3? The Black Eye season, before the Black Eye even happened. That's where it started taking a downturn for her, because she started pandering to the audience because she knew we loved her so much. Just keep being your authentic self. We're going to have moments where we love you, we hate you, and we love to hate you. That is the point of this dynamic and of this show. We usually don't stay hating people for long unless they're Jen Shaw. Okay. So Kyle then brings up, after she said, there were many times she felt like Dorit was pandering to the audience and just trying to be on the audience's side. And Dorit's like, when? So Kyle brings up that fan question at BravoCon, which now I'm like, God damn it, why didn't I do some shady shit by walking up to a mic when I was at BravoCon? Could have been featured on a reunion, but no. Got a little shy. Yeah, right. Me shy. No, I did. And how that audience member was like, Kyle, why are you trying to make these women hang around Teddy Mellencamp? Quit trying to make fetch happen. Quit trying to make Teddy happen. And Kyle very much stood up to him and said, well, Teddy is very much happening for me. She's a very dear friend. I love her. La 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 la. And Erica said, no, I consider on the stage Teddy a friend. And Anna Marie even was like, yeah, our boys played football against each other. I really do like Teddy. And I guess Dorit didn't say anything. And I suppose that was really upsetting to Kyle. And a way that Dorit was trying to pander to the audience. I think Dorit was trying to watch, personally, from what I observed when I was at that panel at BravoCon, I feel like Dorit was really trying to watch her ass, but also pander to the audience. So it was a little bit of both. But I feel like she was really trying to watch her ass after how upset she got with Erica's answer about who she thought was going to be divorced next at the previous year's BravoCon, when Erica said it was going to be
PK and Dorit.
So can't win for losing. Nope. And Kyle said that that was just an example of her just wanting to be on the side of the audience, and tells her again that it feels like she cares more about being on the side of the audience than her friend. And Dorit says,
That is the most hysterical thing I've ever heard.
So that's the conclusion of the part 1 of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills reunion. Next week on Tuesday, wow, I think I will be covering Summer House. We'll see. I mean, we'll see what more Bravo tries to put us through. Oh, hey, Danielle. Thank you for joining. I love having you all here. There's going to be more stuff coming out. Just you wait, because I'm sure we are going to have an answer as to what Jax and Brittany are no longer together, aside from it just being a really tough year. There's going to be more. We're going to find out more. And I'm sure someone else is going to get sued tomorrow. Just don't let it be me, please. All right, my friends. Again, subscribe on YouTube, join the lives. Just keep an eye on my social media channel. I usually post on TikTok or here on YouTube when I'm going to be going live. I try and schedule them appropriately. And typically it's going to be around 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or else 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12:30 Pacific. But just keep an eye out. That's usually the time I go. But today it was just an extraordinary circumstance. So I apologize again for being late. But leave me a 5-star review if you could, please. It means the entire goddamn world. And it's free. It's free. Free to make people smile and join the besties community. All right, my friends. Thank you again for joining. And I will see you next week. Have a fun weekend. Bye.